Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another deep dive here on the English Mindset. I am so pumped to be here with you all today.
And I am so happy to be back. It's always a highlight of my week to dive into these topics. How are things going with you? You look, well, intense is the word I'd use.
Intense. Yeah, that's a polite way to put it. Honestly, I'm doing great, but I'm also incredibly tired. My brain feels like it just ran a marathon without drinking any water.
Oh, no. What happened? Did you have a tough meeting or something?
No, nothing like that. It was actually completely self-inflicted. This morning, I decided today's the day I am going to read a book in French. I've been trying to learn French for a while
Oh,
now.
that's a fantastic goal.
Right.
Reading is usually one of the best ways to acquire a language.
Usually. But I picked up this novel, and after only like 10 minutes, I had to put it down. I literally got a headache, a physical, throbbing headache right behind my eyes.
10 minutes. Wow. That sounds painful. Why do you think it hit you so hard? Was the grammar too advanced?
It wasn't even the grammar, it was the process. I realized it wasn't just reading, I was doing this mental gymnastics routine. I was looking at a French word, stopping, finding the English equivalent in my head, then rearranging the sentence. I was trying to translate every single word.
Ah, I know that feeling so well. It is absolutely exhausting, isn't it?
Exhausting is the perfect word. It just drained my battery completely. I felt like I needed a nap at 10 in the morning.
Well, honestly, your headache is actually a perfect setup for what we're talking about today. It leads perfectly into our topic.
I'm glad my pain is useful for the show.
It definitely is. Today, we're going to talk about exactly that problem. We're going to discuss why you need to stop translating in your head, and more importantly, how you can start thinking directly in English.
That is the holy grail, right? Thinking directly in the target language. But before we get to the how, we have to talk about the why. Because I think a lot of our listeners do exactly what I did this morning. They think translating is helping them.
Right. It feels like a safety net. You see a new word, you grab your native language, and you feel safe. But actually, it isn't a help. It's what we call a middleman.
A middleman. Okay, let's unpack that. I love a good metaphor. What do you mean by a middleman in this context?
Okay, so I want you and everyone listening to imagine your brain is a shop, a busy grocery store,
Okay, I'm in the shop. I can see it.
and you want to buy an apple.
Yeah.
In this metaphor, the apple is the English word or the concept you want to express.
Got it. I see the apple. I want the apple.
Now, in your native language, you just walk over, pick up the apple, and buy it. Simple, right?
Right. Fast or easy.
But when you translate, you don't do that. Instead, you have to go find a translator who works in the shop. You ask him for the apple. Then the translator has to go find the shopkeeper. Talks to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper finds the apple, gives it back to the translator, and finally the translator comes back and gives it to you.
Wow. Okay, just listening to that process made me feel impatient. That's so many steps for one piece of fruit.
Exactly. And that is what's happening in your brain every time you translate. It just slows everything down.
It's totally inefficient. And, looking at it that way, there's a cost. It isn't just annoying, it costs you something. I'm going to coin a term here. I'm calling this the time tax.
Oh, I like that. The time tax.
Yeah. When you have that middleman, you're paying a tax on every single sentence. You lose time, you lose mental energy, like my headache this morning, and it makes the conversation feel so heavy.
That is such a good way to put it. And think about the person listening to you. If you're paying the time tax, they're just waiting. The whole rhythm of the conversation is gone.
So the mission for today's deep dive is simple. We want to fire the middleman. We want to cut out that translator so you can just grab the apple directly.
Precisely. We want to remove that barrier so you can speak directly and,
Yeah.
fluently.
I love it. And hey, before we get into our personal horror stories, because we both have them, I want to take a quick second to ask you, the listener, to help us out. If you're enjoying this, please hit that like button, subscribe, and maybe share this with a friend who's also learning English.
Yes, please do. It really helps us grow the community and reach more learners just like you.
All right, so we've talked about the theory, the shop, and the apple. But let's get real. You're an expert now, but you weren't always perfectly fluent. Have you ever struggled with this translation trap?
Oh, absolutely. This isn't just a theoretical problem for me. I have lived this. I have a very vivid memory from years ago when I first moved to London.
Oh, London, the big city, what happened?
I was so excited to be there, but my English is okay, but I was still very much in that translation mode. So I went to a busy coffee shop. Morning, peak time, very crowded.
A high-pressure environment. London coffee shops in the morning are like a battlefield.
Exactly. Very high pressure. I get to the front of the line, I order my coffee, and the barista looks at me, holding the cup, and asks, Do you want room for milk?
Do you want room for milk? Okay, very common phrase.
Now today, I know exactly what that means, but back then, my brain grabbed the word room and immediately sent it to the middleman. The translator in my head said, room, like a bedroom, a living room, a kitchen.
Oh no. So you're standing there imagining a literal room.
Yes. I was visualizing a bedroom inside my coffee cup. It made absolutely no sense, and my brain it completely froze. I just stood there.
The famous buffer face when the computer is loading.
Totally. I stood there in silence for probably 30 seconds,
Mhm.
which in a busy London coffee shop is an eternity.
That is a lifetime. The people behind you must have been furious.
There were. I could feel the anger, radiating from the line behind me. And then finally, it clicked. I realized he meant space. Empty space in the cup. But it was too late. I just mumbled yes, took my cup, and pretty much ran away. I felt so embarrassed.
That's the worst feeling.
And the reason I felt that way was because I was trying to translate that one specific word, room, instead of just understanding the situation, the context.
That is such a classic example. And it's funny because usually these mistakes are just awkward, like that one. But sometimes the mistranslation can get you into real trouble.
Oh, do you have a story like that?
I do. And this one still makes me cringe when I think about it. This was back when I was living in Italy.
Beautiful country.
Beautiful country, very hot summers. It was July, incredibly humid. I met up with some local friends, and one of them asked me the standard question, how are you?
Simple enough.
Should be simple. In my head, I wanted to say, I am hot, because physically, I was sweating. It was 90 degrees.
Okay. Reasonable.
So I did the math. I took I am in Italian, and I took the word for hot in Italian, and I put them together. Said it with total confidence.
Oh, no. I think I know where this is going.
The person looked at me very strangely. Not angry, just confused and maybe a little shocked.
Because you didn't say you were warm from the weather, did you?
No, I did not. I found out later that the phrase I used, the literal translation of I am hot in Italian, means you are. How do we say this? It means you are feeling provocative. It has a sexual connotation.
Oh, no. That is tragic.
It was terrible. I was trying to complain about the weather, and instead I was making this very inappropriate declaration to a group of friends.
Out of the danger of the middleman.
It is. I was so focused on the dictionary in my head that I missed the actual way people speak. I didn't learn the real expression because I was just translating directly.
That's such a powerful example, though, and I think it's important for our listeners to hear this. It is normal to feel frustrated when this happens. We've both been there. But those mistakes, that embarrassment, that is actually the catalyst. That's the moment you realize, okay, I need to change.
Right. The pain of the mistake is what forces you to change. So let's help our listeners change before they accidentally say something inappropriate in a foreign country.
Yes, let's save them from that. We have 4 practical tips to help you fire that middleman and start thinking in English. Why don't you walk us through the first one?
Okay, sounds good.
So, tip number 1 is called label your world.
Label your world. This sounds like an interior design project.
A little bit. This is about changing your physical environment. I want you to take sticky notes, Post-its, and go around your house. Label the objects you see every day. The fridge, the mirror, the door, the lamp.
Okay, simple enough. But is there a special rule for this?
There is one crucial rule.
Mm-hmm.
Do not write the translation.
Okay, this is key.
Yes. If you put a note on your refrigerator, it should just say fridge. It should not have the word in your native language next to it.
Why is that so important?
Because if you write both, your brain, which is very efficient, remember, will just read the native word and ignore the English one. You want to create a direct link between the object, the big cold white box, and the word fridge. You see the object and think the English word. No middleman.
That makes so much sense. You're retraining your brain. Okay, what's tip number 2?
Tip number 2 is the daily monologue.
The daily monologue. So basically talking to yourself.
Talking to yourself. It might feel a little crazy at first, but it is so effective. Start describing your day to yourself, either in your head or out loud, using very simple English.
Can you give us an example? What would that sound like?
It doesn't have to be deep philosophy, just, I am making coffee now, it smells good, I need a spoon.
I'm opening the door. I am walking to the bus, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Simple sentences. It builds a direct connection between your actions, what you're physically doing, and the English words. You're bypassing the translation step entirely.
I like that. It turns your life into a movie with English narration.
Yes. And you control the complexity. If you don't know a word, just skip it. Keep the flow going.
Okay, moving on to tip number 3. This one is about learning new vocabulary, visual connection.
Right. So usually when people learn a new word, they write the English word and then the translation right next to it in their notebook.
The classic vocabulary list, we've all done it.
We have. But we need to stop. Instead of writing the translation, I want you to draw a small picture. Or, if you can't draw, just use Google Images.
So if I learn the word apple, I don't write the word for apple in my language. I draw a little red circle with a stem.
Exactly. You want to link the sound apple to the image of the red fruit, not to the word in your native language. Our brains are designed to remember images so much better than text anyway. It's a shortcut.
It's like hacking your brain's visual memory. Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, and finally, tip number 4. This one feels a bit more psychological.
It is. Tip number 4 is accept the mystery.
Accept the mystery. That sounds very zen.
It's a mindset shift. One of the biggest reasons people translate is fear. They are afraid of missing a detail. They want to understand 100% of the words.
That was me with the French book this morning. I couldn't handle not knowing one specific adjective.
Right, and that perfectionism is what gives you the headache. You have to accept that you don't need to understand every single word to get the meaning.
Context is king.
Context is everything. If you stop to translate one difficult word, you usually stop listening. And while you're fighting with that one word, the conversation has moved on. You've missed 5 sentences.
And then you're really lost.
Exactly. So the advice is, just keep going. Let that one word go. Accept the mystery. You'll usually figure out the meaning from the rest of the sentence anyway.
That is such good advice for life, really. Don't get hung up on the small stuff.
Absolutely. It takes confidence,
Yeah.
but it is the key to fluency.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground today. We've had headaches, coffee shop disasters. I think we should do a little word tour. We used some specific vocabulary today that might be new for some listeners.
Let's do it. A quick glossary check.
First up, the villain of our episode, the middleman.
Right. A middleman is a person or a process that stands between two things. In our context, translating is the middleman between your thought and your speech, and we want to cut them out.
Next word, exhausting.
This describes something that makes you very, very tired, drained, like you felt after reading French. Thinking in 2 languages at once is exhausting.
It sure is. Then we had the verb, to struggle.
To struggle means to have a difficult time doing something. You're trying hard, but it's not easy. It implies effort. For example, a lot of students struggle with prepositions.
We also talked about using a label.
A label is just that small piece of paper with information on it, like the sticky note you put on your door that says door.
And finally, one of my favorites, shortcut.
A shortcut is just a quicker way to get somewhere. Instead of taking the long road, you take the fast path. Thinking in English is a shortcut to fluency.
Perfect. I love doing those little reviews. It really helps cement the concepts.
Repetition is key. So to wrap this all up, the main takeaway for our listeners is this. Stop paying the time tax.
It's too expensive.
It is. Use labels, talk to yourself in simple English, use pictures, and please don't panic when you don't know a word.
I love it. And you know we always like to leave you with a challenge, a tiny goal. Because listening is great, but doing is better.
Yes. Here is your challenge for today. It will only take 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Everyone has 2 minutes.
Pick one room in your house, the kitchen, the bathroom, whatever. Walk into that room and set a timer for 2 minutes.
Okay.
For those 2 minutes, I want you to touch items and name them only in English. Table, chair, spoon, window.
And the rule.
The rule is no translating allowed. If the word comes into your head in your native language first, just push it away, wait for the English word. If you don't know it, skip the object. Just connect the physical touch to the English sound.
That is fantastic. It's active, it's physical, and it breaks that translation loop immediately.
Exactly. It forces your brain to switch modes.
Listeners, you can do this. I know it feels hard at first. I know it gave me a headache this morning, but it just takes practice. You are getting better every single day.
You really are. Every time you skip the middleman, you get a little bit faster, a little bit more fluent.
We would love to hear from you. We have a question of the day for the comments. What is the one word you always try to translate? Is there a specific word that always trips you up?
Ooh, that's a good question. I can't wait to read those answers. Stay positive, keep practicing, and don't be afraid to make mistakes, even if you accidentally say you're provocative in Italian.
Hey, at least it makes for a good story. Thanks for listening, everyone. We will see you in the next deep dive.
Bye, everyone.